Hey there, this is Dr. Pam Perry, and we are here with Pam Perry's Picks. And we are going to be in for a treat because a young lady, Fatima Jafar, has written her first book, and you're going to love it. It is a Pam Perry's Picks, and we'll bring her up right after this. Fatima Jafar.
Hey yo, kick back, relax, let's dive in the page. Pam Perry Picks got the books for your brain. From fiction and non-fiction, all genres insane. We coming through showing love with a lit game. Greatest stories ever told, gotta find your pick. Imagination running wild, ain't nothing slick. Get lost in the pages, let your mind drift. Pam Perry Picks got your brain in the bookshelf vibe. Turning the pages with pride. Pam Perry Picks got the words by your side. Bookshelf vibe, turning pages with pride. Pam Perry Picks got the words by your side. From the classics to you, we got the books for you. Get your mind right, let the knowledge accrue. Bookshelf vibe, expanding horizons wide. Pam Perry Picks keeping readers satisfied. Books up high, knowledge we can't deny. Get your reading on, the book one fly. Click cover image.
Hey there. So, as I promised, our author is here today. That is her book, Fatima Jafar. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. I'm so glad that you wrote this book. So, The Wounds We Heal. And then give us the subtitle because it's enough to really just take your breath away. Like, okay, so
Yeah.
we've got to dig into this. So, give us the subtitle.
So it's called The Wounds We Heal, and the subtitle is One Woman's Journey from Being a Suicide Attempt Survivor to a Hospital Executive.
Yes. And suicide attempt survivor twice.
Twice.
And that is around what age were those attempts?
My late 20s.
Late 20s. Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when people are in, it's not like, oh, I just had a bad day at school, but it was a series of things that led to this because obviously there's a lot of pain.
Yes.
And so people who commit suicide or attempt suicide, they feel the pain is so unbearable that they need relief. So what was going on really in your, up to the 20s that really sparked this? And then, without really giving too many personal details and things like that. And then what was the main thing that really kind of like, okay, we went from here to now we're going up?
Sure. So I grew up with some traumas that I had, as like many people, sort of suppress as a kid. You're not able to really comprehend what's happening. You sort of then begin as you get older to manifest it in different ways. For me, when I was a junior in college, I had my first panic attack, and that's when it first started my sort of mental health journey. Throughout, over a decade, I, like so many other people, went through doctor to doctor, therapist to therapist, tried so many avenues to get better. And I finally reached a point where they say, you can see light at the end of the tunnel. And it's kind of descriptive of why my book is this as a cover. It's when you're in that tunnel and all you see is darkness, that glimmer of hope is not there anymore. And you just convince yourself that there's no way out. And you're in so much emotional pain that that's the only escape that you can use. And that's sort of the insight of the mind of someone who has reached that point to really decide to take your own life.
So I do like the cover. The cover of the book really does show, that there is a glimmer of hope and you're coming out of the tunnel. Yes. So you really wrote the book. This is your first book. It wasn't like, oh, okay, one day I want to be an author, but it was like put upon you that you need to do that. So what is your hope with the book, really, that you want people to get from it? People, especially in college in their 20s, or even, younger for that matter. But what is it that you really want people to get out of it so that they can know how to maneuver? Obviously, it's easy to say to people, oh, you just need to go to therapy. But if you don't know about therapy, or therapy's not really your culture, for African Americans, it's like, oh, you just have to pray about it and it'll go away. Well, culturally, or we don't talk about those things in our culture. So what do you say to people? How do you reach them to tell them it's okay? You need to talk to somebody.
So to your first half, what the takeaway I wanted from this book, I never wanted to write a book, nor 2 years after my attempts did I ever think that I would be sharing this with the world. It's not a, oh, pity me. This is a real topic that is so hush hush in too many communities. And we need to start normalizing talking about it. And so that is one purpose for me. And I took that away as a survivor, and I write about this in the book. I believe I was meant to be alive to pursue God's mission, and it wasn't an accident. And for me, it's to be an advocate, a voice for this community that so often is voiceless. So that's the first thing. The second is to obviously not give up. When you are in a place and you're in that tunnel and you don't see an end, and you've tried every avenue, and it's like no matter what you try, you aren't feeling better, you don't want to get out of bed, you have no motivation to do anything, let alone go to work or see friends, just call one person, or make sure one person knows the state that you're in, so that you are able to kind of that person may be able to provide a light. And there's really not a perfect thing to say to someone in that position, and it's very different. What may have worked for me may not work for someone else. And lastly, I wanted to just paint the picture that mental health has no face. I don't look like someone who would have, I don't think, I've been told, someone who would have attempted suicide.
No.
But neither did Robin Williams, right?
Right.
Neither did Twitch from the Ellen Show. Neither did so many of these people we see and we hear on the media, let alone in real life. So mental health really has no face.
Yeah, the one episode that I remember was so shocking. Twitch was one, but it was an African-American lady. I want to say she was on television. She had been in a pageant, and she threw herself out of a window in New York. And her mother, and I like what you said, that, you know, at least there's one person that you can call, because if a person has one person they can call, that person can actually help them, you know, come out of that tunnel. And so having that one person, who was that one person for you that you had?
That was my cousin, and I grew up with her, and she knew I was going through a hard time, but she's across the country now in California. But when she got that call, she was my first call I made after my first attempt. And she got on a flight right away and came home and stayed with me for months.
See, I love that. I love that. And people do need to have that one person, because I always say that, you know, with Twitch or any of them, you know, Robin Williams, if you just, sometimes I feel like if they just go to sleep, and then in the morning it'll be so much better. You know, it's like the joy comes in the morning. But it's like but you don't know how to really come out of the tunnel alone. And so having that one person, like you said, that you can call, that can pull you out of the tunnel, that can be there right on the spot. Did you go through any kind of medical therapeutic type of treatments, I guess you would say, or I don't know, what do you call it, or counseling?
Yeah, I had been seeing psychiatrists, and for me, and I also write about this in the book, what was kind of one of the straws that broke the camel's back was I was seeing well-regarded psychiatrists in this community paying out of pocket, which, you know, I have the luxury of being able to do that, but many other people don't. And after, you know, a few months working with her, maybe over 6 months, she just sort of said, I don't know what else to try for you. And it was in that moment when she gave up on me, I then gave up on myself. That here's a professional who's supposed to know how to help me, and she's saying, I don't know what else to do for you. So, and I was also in therapy at the time, but with someone that I don't think I was making a lot of progress with, but sort of just did it because I knew that it's the right thing to do. So I was in treatment at the time. So it's not always the answer.
Yeah, but it is. Yeah, but the main thing, like you said, getting books like that, if you do feel like you're in a tunnel, getting Fatima's book, it's on Amazon. You can reach her at Fatima Jafar. It's a hyphen in between.com, and reach her there. You know, you like to be able to speak to different organizations, Schools would be a really good place to really speak with. A lot of colleges would be a good place for you to speak at as well. So I just thank you for writing the book and the bravery of writing it, because not everybody wants to really tell about all of the yucky stuff that they go through, right? So for you to really write it and bravely to promote it and speak about it, and then invite people to have you come and speak is really, really a brave thing to do. And it also is part of your purpose. It's really
Yes.
part of your purpose now for,
Yep.
people to know that they can heal the wounds, basically heal the wounds from whatever trauma someone has gone through, from whether they were immediate traumas. Sometimes people are traumatized if their houses catches on fire, and they're traumatized for many years after that because they lost everything, or the trauma builds up over time,
Yep.
which sometimes is a lot of people's story because they never go and get help. And
Exactly.
if you can just read different books, I always say books will change your life. And that's why I always want to do this show. It's about Pam Perry's books. Books will change your life. So
Yeah.
I just thank you so much, Fatima, for writing the book. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we
No, I
wrap
mean, I
up?
think just the takeaway is it's mental health is not a one size fits all. What I describe in this book, what worked for me, it was really digging deep into my traumas and understanding how it affected me, and then going from there. But it's not one size fits all. What worked for me may be different for others. But this book also talks about the gaps that I see as an administrator now for in healthcare, and from a patient perspective in the mental health community, or
Mm,
mental health in the United States. So
yeah.
the third portion of my book talks a lot about the gaps in the healthcare system in the United States, that we need to work on. And one day I hope to work in legislation to be able to do that as well. So
Oh, that is good. I love that. Yeah, that it, because you have both sides, from
exactly.
being in the medical industry, in the healthcare profession, and then also as a patient. And then
Hmm.
having people to say, okay, well, these are the things that you need to do in order so people can be better. Because you never
Yeah.
want to have someone that says, I don't know what else to do. Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
let's fill those gaps there. So I just thank you so much for joining us today for Pam
Thank you
Perry's
so
Pick.
much for having me. Appreciate
All
it.
right. God bless you. All right. Take care. So make sure you go to Amazon, look for The Wounds We Heal, and by Fatima Jafar. It is an excellent book. And if you know anyone, sometimes if they are just The Wounds We Heal, if you know someone that maybe is depressed, or, checking on someone, just, you may not buy the book and just give it to them. Maybe buy the book and set it aside, set it on the table, something like that, so that they'll think like, oh, I wonder, because the book's cover will resonate with the person who is going through that. That's why she picked that particular thing, because that's the feeling they're feeling. They always say don't judge a book by its cover, but that particular book, you're going to see it, and even if you don't read it, you'll say, okay, Fatima Jafar understands me. So make sure that you get the book. And I 100% approve it. And I am Pam Perry's Picks. And thank you so much for joining us today. And go to Fatima Jafar with the hyphen in between, FatimaJafar.com. All right. God bless. Take care. Bye bye.